Hi guys, Angie Bell's My Favorite Treasures. I'm back. Okay, so we left off where I had Mod Podged all of the pieces down. And I think I titled this, well, it's a big old long title. Anyway, these are all, to me, patches. And I'm putting stitch lines on all of these patches. So it's like I'm creating like a quilt. And these pieces, like I told you in my last video, represent myself. I felt like the things I've been going through and have gone through, that, you know, I was a bunch of patches. And I'm one by one stitching myself back together. And so this piece definitely is representing myself. And it's just going to help me heal myself. And I think healing myself, thinking myself as all these separate patches, and I'm going to, one stitch at a time, heal myself. I think this project will help me. So, and I said that from now on, when I do come across a project that I think can help me with my life, or help heal me, or do something for myself, I will share that with you. So we're at the point now where I said I would, in advance, I would start marking all of these stitch lines, and I did, because, you know, it took a little while, but I'll mark some of the little stitch lines with you. Like, and the little stitch lines represent as if I was sewing this all together on a sewing machine. So, just so you can see them a little closer, can you see the little lines? Let's see. Let's go like this, and come down a little bit. Okay, so we'll throw in some stitch lines. See if you can see here. No, you can't see there. Can you see over here? All right, just a second. Sometimes it gets really difficult. Okay, there we go. And come in just a little bit. All right, because now you see the little stitch lines, and I'm going to work on down here. I'm going to see what you guys can see at, so I make sure I'm in. So at least here and here. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and just fill in some of these stitch lines, and then we'll continue on with the rest of everything else. So, and I really enjoyed this. It seems a little bit tedious putting these little stitch lines in, but I actually really enjoyed it. It's kind of like knitting. I love knitting, and again, that's like, I think the reason I'm attracted to knitting, again, I'm using it as therapy for myself. I feel like I'm stitching myself back together, one stitch at a time when I'm knitting. So it's like I'm knitting myself back together. So I think that's why I am loving the knitting. Plus, it's that same repetitive thing over and over and over. It's very, well, for some people, for me, very calming to just kind of repeat the same repetitive thing. I'm not saying that's for everybody, but it's for me. So, and it's not like it's a new idea, but I was watching, I said her name yesterday. What is it? I have it written down. And I meant to put her in my notes, in my show notes, so hopefully I remember to do that today. What's her name? I had her down. Oh, you know, if you move your notes, if you move anything in your craft room, that is it. Oh, I had her name in my last video. Oh, that makes me mad. Just one second, guys. Let me see if I can't find it. Anyway, I will try to make sure I put her name down below. The YouTuber I'm talking about, she, every week, she does a piece. And she does it, it's either something to heal herself, something she wants to change about herself, or wants to improve about herself, and she's using her art to do it. And I've heard other people doing that, but it just resonated with me when she was talking about it. And I thought, you know what? Maybe that is going to be my answer to helping me heal myself. So, one stitch at a time. And don't get sad when you watch this video if you're saying, oh, Angela, don't get sad, because you know what? At least I'm to the point where I'm at the point where I'm stitching myself back together. It's better at being the point where you're coming apart. I laugh so I don't cry. Whew. Okay. So there we go. So I finished that up. I have a few more stitches over here that I can do that I'm off camera, but I'm not going to worry about that. Now, the one thing I didn't do, because in my last video I showed you the page. I showed you the, I can scoot this way a little bit over. Okay, I showed you the page over here. Remember I had the little saying right here? It says, life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning to dance in the rain. And we talked about what that meant, what that meant to me. Well, I have another quote, and we'll put that over here. But first what we got to do is we got to put, just like we have over on the other page over here, right there. See, this is a pocket. And then we're going to make all the tags for the pocket. Okay, and we're going to do that on this side also. So now we need to make the pocket. Okay, but before we make the, well, this is what the pocket's going to look like. What this is here is I took, let me take some of my collage bits off of here. What I did is, this was a piece of just cardstock, and these are from one of my knitting magazines. They sell yarn. And this is some yarn here, and then this is another thing of yarn here, and I just love how they look. And I love knitting. I just told you what knitting meant to me. So then, at the same time, I felt like I just needed to collage a few more pieces on this. This is going to be my pocket, okay, which is going to go right there, okay? So, let me scoot that over a little bit. Yeah. But I want to collage some pieces on here. So this bird kind of isn't just sitting there by itself. So I was thinking like that. Okay. So now what I need to do is I need to collage all this onto this pocket. And also what I want to create is hinges. Let me turn my camera back over here. See this pocket here? See, it really can open up a lot. Well, right now because I have it stuffed with things, but there's a gusset in here. And the reason it's gusseted is because you put hinges inside of the pocket. Sounds way more confusing than it is. So we're going to go through it. It's very simple, very easy. Okay, but the first thing we need to do is let's close the book because we don't need this book for right now. And the book I'm altering is a old-fashioned photo book, like for photographs. That's what I'm altering, and that's what I'm making into my newest journal. Okay, so let's get my decoupage, my podge out. Make sure I'm in frame, and I am. Okay, and let's start decoupaging these pieces on. And I'm going to use a magazine here as my base to glue things on. For those of you who don't know, I like to use a magazine, something that like I've already looked and taken all the pictures out that I don't want, and or a free magazine, and I use it as a place to glue my stuff down, because then you can just turn the page and have a new fresh page. So it makes it really easy to glue stuff down. Okay. So where are we going to put my bird? Right here, I think. And that's another thing. I absolutely love hummingbirds. And this hummingbird is gorgeous. Isn't this bird gorgeous? It's like all my favorite colors. The purple with the turquoise and the blues and the greens. And they're all meshed together perfectly. And birds to me are very symbolic too. I love birds, and especially I love hummingbirds. I think they represent such freedom to me. Besides beauty, but such freedom. And I love a hummingbird because they're so busy, you know, and I'm a very busy person. Like, I don't stop too much. I don't stop to smell the roses. I probably should, but I don't. I'm just a busy bee, like a hummingbird. Okay, so I'm going to put this on there. All right. This is the knitting magazine that I actually got this picture, the base of this from, of all the yarn skeins. Okay, so we're going to put, so I want this hummingbird to look like it's among the flowers. And I love, you guys will see me use roses in a lot of my work. I love roses. I have a rose garden in my backyard. Pretty much my whole backyard around the pool is a rose garden. So they grow beautifully here in Las Vegas. So they can go right through the heat. They don't bloom in the heat, but they don't die, you know, they just go right through the heat. And they go right through the winters, and they come out beautifully in the springtime. So they're very, very easy to grow here. You know, I might save this page because I like this page. This could be another pocket page. You know what? Let me get this glue off of here. Let me get a different magazine because you know what? This is one of my newer ones, and I'm liking that. Okay, let me get one of the magazines I'm not liking. All right, here we go. Make sure you guys are still seeing everything good. Okay, so now we're going to put this rose here. I'm excited for my next project. I'm not even done with this one. I'm already excited for my next one because I'm going to, you know how I like to draw my girls? Well, one of my girls, I'm going to be drawing her in a mixed media background. So hopefully you guys will look forward to that project. That'll be after this one. I've already started preparing like what I'm going to do, and so I'm excited about it. Okay, put this here. And I use a lot of roses in my work, and you guys are probably like, where do you get all those roses? Well, I'll show you. I always try to share everything with you guys where I get things. The hummingbird I got from a hummingbird magazine, and I got that, I think I was at Sam's Club. Yeah. Okay, you guys, the magazine is full of hummingbirds. It is a beautiful magazine. Is it cheap? No. That magazine cost me $14, and I almost didn't buy it. But my husband's like, Angela, you do so much collage work. You love hummingbirds. We're buying this for you. So that was really sweet of him to make me buy a $14 magazine because my cheap self wasn't going to do it. Now let me show you where I get the roses from. This book right here is called The Ultimate Rose Book. And you get it on eBay. This book is only $5, you guys. That's it. It's a hardback book full of rose. Look at that. Open up, beautiful roses. Look at this. See? And I've gone through some of these books before to show you guys. Look at all these roses. Look at that. Look at that. Look at all that. See? It's a book full of roses. So if you like to use roses in your work, I would advise you guys to go get those. I have probably 3 or 4 of them. I'm probably going to buy more because I just feel like someday they're not going to have that book anymore, especially for that price. Okay, anyway, so we have our pocket, right? But we need to put the hinges on it that I was talking about. So we're going to do that next. So this is how that turned out. Does that look pretty? All right. So let's put this aside. Next thing, how to make these hinges. These are what we want to make, our hinges. I already made some right here, okay? But I'm going to show you how I did it. Let me put my brush away. Put a lid on that. Okay, hopefully I have enough room here. You take a scoreboard, take a piece of cardstock like this. Let me see where I am in frame. Perfect. And where the heck, here it is. Take your scoreboard and then take your bone folder. And at every inch, you're just going to score. So at 1, at 2, at 3, 4, 5, all the way down the paper to 8, okay? So then you end up with a sheet like this. Okay? All right. Let me put my scoreboard down. If you don't have a scoreboard, I would highly, highly suggest you get one. You can make these without a scoreboard. You can use a ruler and I guess folding them. You could, but I would get a scoreboard. And the reason I say that with the bone folder, because these are tools and you will have these tools forever. If there's anything you should invest in, it is your tools for sure. Okay, and keep an eye out Tuesday morning. They always have stuff like this, really good price. But anyway, you can always use a 50% off coupon and pick one up for about 15 bucks with a coupon at Michael's or Joann's. Okay, so I'm going to start with this one because this is a sheet that I already had started with. Okay, so you want to have 2 scored pieces, so cut it out like this. Let me do it so instead of talking about it. Okay, so there's one. We're going to need 3 of these. On the end, when you get to the end, you'll have this little piece here that you just cut off. So now you have this one. So now we have 2. Okay, we need one more set of those. Over here I scored something wrong, so let's just cut this off the edge here. This is that one little piece on the end. It's where you don't have enough to make another complete inch. Okay, so now let's cut here. And I always have these hinges hanging around my craft room, so whenever I want to do pockets or anything where I want a hinge, I have some hinges. So let me put those to the side. Okay, so then you're going to take them, and they've been scored, right? So right where it's been scored on that line, you go like this. So right on that score line, see that score line? That's where you fold it at. And on this score line, you fold it. Okay. So now, let's set those aside. Let's bring back the pocket. Okay, so one thing I want to do to reinforce your pocket, and as I do it, it'll make more sense. I'm going to glue this down. I'm going to put this here, and I'm going to glue the whole thing just down. What that does, it gives an extra thickness and an extra finishing on your pocket. Okay? And as I keep doing things, it'll make more sense as you see them more than me talking. So I'll try to do more than I talk. Well, that'll be impossible. Anyway. Be careful not to burn your damn self. Okay. So now we glued that hinge together. Okay. This isn't going to be a hinge right now. This is going to be a reinforcer. Okay. So this is the edge right here, right? That we're going to be slipping everything in. So I'm going to reinforce that with that hinge that I closed. Okay. And like I said, everything will make... And I'm using hot glue. And the reason I'm using hot glue is instead of using like double-sided tape, I think that this just gets attached on better with hot glue, and it's very instant and it's a lot stronger for this situation. And I always say use whatever glue you need to use for the project you're doing. I would never say, oh, I hate hot glue. I would never use hot glue for anything. I wouldn't do that if I was you. The